The Iliad, Book 1. Rage, goddess, sing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles, murderous, doomed, that cost the Achaeans countless losses, hurling down to the house of death so many sturdy souls, great fighter souls, but made their bodies carrion, feasts for the dogs and birds. And the will of Zeus was moving toward its end. Begin, Muse. When the two first broke and clashed, Agamemnon, lord of men, and brilliant Achilles. What god drove them to fight with such a fury? Apollo, the son of Zeus and Leto. Incensed at the king, he swept a fatal plague through the army. Men were dying, and all because Agamemnon spurned Apollo's priest. Yes, Chryses approached the Achaeans' fast ships to win his daughter back, bringing a priceless ransom, and bearing high in hand, wound on a golden staff the wreaths of the god, the distant, deadly archer. He begged the whole Achaean army, but most of all, the two supreme commanders, Atreus' two sons. Agamemnon, Menelaus, all Argives geared for war. May the gods who hold the halls of Olympus give you Priam's city to plunder, then safe passage home. Just set my daughter free, my dear one. Here, accept these gifts, this ransom. Honor the god who strikes from worlds away, the son of Zeus, Apollo. The ranks of Achaeans cried out their assent. Respect the priest, accept the shining ransom. But it brought no joy to the heart of Agamemnon. The king dismissed the priest with a brutal order ringing in his ears. Never again, old man, let me catch sight of you by the hollow ships. Not loitering now, nor slinking back tomorrow. The staff and the wreaths of God will never save you then. The girl? I won't give up the girl. Long before that, old age will overtake her in my house in Argos, far from her fatherland, slaving back and forth at the loom, forced to share my bed. Now, go. Don't tempt my wrath, and you may depart alive. The old man was terrified. He obeyed the order, turning, trailing away in silence down the shore, where the battle lines of breakers crash and drag. And moving off to a safe distance, over and over, the old priest prayed to the son of sleek-haired Leto, Lord Apollo. Hear me, Apollo, god of the silver bow, who strides the words of Chryse and Scylla sacrosanct, lord in power of Tenedos, Minthius, god of plague. If I ever roofed a shrine to please your heart, ever burned the long rich bones of bulls and goats on your holy altar, now, bring my prayer to pass. Pay the Danaans back. Your arrows for my tears. His prayer went up. Phoebus Apollo heard him. Down he strode from Olympus' peaks, storming at heart with his bow and hooded quiver slung across his shoulders. The arrows clanged at his back as the god quaked with rage. The god himself on the march, and down he came, like night. Over against the ships he dropped to a knee, let fly a shaft, and a terrifying clang rang out from the great silver bow. First he went for the mules and circling dogs, but then, launching a piercing shaft at the men themselves, he cut them down in droves, and the corpse fires burned on night and day, no end in sight. 9 days the arrows of God swept through the army. On the 10th, Achilles called all ranks to muster. The impulse seized him. Sent by white-armed Hera, grieving to see the Achaean fighters drop and die. Once they'd gathered, crowding the meeting grounds, the swift runner Achilles rose and spoke among them. Son of Atreus, now we are beaten back, I fear. The long campaign is lost. So home we sail, if we can escape our death, if war and plague are joining forces now to crush the Argives. But wait, Let us question a holy man, a prophet, even a man skilled with dreams. Dreams as well can come from our way from Zeus. Come, someone to tell us why Apollo rages so, whether he blames us for a vow we failed or sacrifice. If only the god would share the smoky savor of lambs and full-grown goats, Apollo might be willing still, somehow, to save us from this plague. So he proposed. And down he sat again as Calchas rose among them, Thestor's son, the clearest by far of all the seers who scan the flight of birds. He knew all things that are, all things that are past, and all that are to come. The seer who had led the Argive ships to Troy with the second sight that Apollo gave him. For the army's good, the seer began to speak. Achilles, dear to Zeus, you order me to explain Apollo's anger. The distant deadly archer? I will tell it all, but strike a pact with me. Swear you will defend me with all your heart, with words and strength of hand. For there is a man I will enrage, I see it now, a powerful man who lords it over all the Argives, one the Achaeans must obey, a mighty king, raging against an inferior is too strong. Even if he can swallow down his wrath today, he will nurse the burning in his chest until sooner or later he sends it bursting forth. Consider it closely, Achilles. Will you save me? And the matchless runner reassured him. Courage! Out with it now, Calchas. Reveal the will of God, whatever you may know. And I swear by Apollo, dear to Zeus, the power you pray to, Calchas, when you reveal God's will to the Argives, no one, not while I'm alive and see the light on earth, no one will lay his heavy hands on you by the hollow ships. None among the armies, not even if you mean Agamemnon here, who claims to be, by far, the best of the Achaeans. The seer took heart this time, and this time he spoke out bravely. Beware! He casts no blame for a vow we failed to sacrifice. The gods enraged because Agamemnon spurned his priest. He refused to free his daughter. He refused the ransom. That's why the archer sends us pains, and he will send us more, and never drive this shameful destruction from the Argives, not till we give back the girl with sparkling eyes to her loving father. No price, no ransom paid, and carry a sacred 100 bulls to Crissy town. Then we can calm the god, and only then appease him. So he declared and sat down. But among them rose the fighting son of Atreus, lord of the far-flung kingdoms, Agamemnon. Furious, his dark heart filled to the brim, blazing with anger now, his eyes like searing fire. With a sudden killing look, he wheeled on Calchas first. Seer of misery! Never a word that works to my advantage. Always misery warms your heart, your prophecies. Never a word of profit said or brought to pass. Now, again, your divine God's will for the armies brooded about as fact why the deadly archer multiplies our pains. Because I refused that glittering prize for the young girl Chryseis. Indeed, I prefer her by far the girl herself. I want her mine in my own house. I rank her higher than Clytemnestra, my wedded wife. She's nothing less in build or breeding, in mind or works of hand. But I am willing to give her back even so, if that is best for all. What I really want is to keep my people safe, not to see them dying. But fetch me another prize, and straight off too, else I alone of the Argives go without my honor. That would be a disgrace. You are all witness. Look, my prize is snatched away. But the swift runner Achilles answered him at once. Just how, Agamemnon, great field marshal, most grasping man alive, how can the generous Argives give you prizes now? I know of no troves of treasure piled lying idle anywhere. Whatever we dragged from towns we plundered, all's been portioned out. But collect it, call it back from the rank and file, that would be the disgrace. So return the girl to the god, at least for now. We Achaeans will pay you back 3, 4 times over if Zeus will grant us the gift somehow, someday, to raise Troy's massive ramparts to the ground. But King Agamemnon countered, "Not so quickly, brave as you are, godlike Achilles, trying to cheat me. Oh, no, you won't get past me. Take me in that way. What do you want? To cling to your own prize while I sit calmly by, empty-handed here? Is that why you order me to give her back? No. If our generous Argives will give me a prize to match for my desires equal to what I've lost, well and good. But if they give me nothing, I will take a prize myself. Your own, or Ajax or Odysseus' prize. I'll commandeer her myself and let that man go to visit choke with rage. Enough. We'll deal with all this later in due time. Now, come, we haul a black ship down to the bright sea, gather a decent number of oarsmen along her locks, and put aboard a sacrifice, and Chryseis herself in all her beauty. We embark her too. Let one of the leading captains take command. Ajax, Idomeneus, trusty Odysseus. Or you, Achilles, you, the most violent man alive, so you can perform the rites for us and calm the god yourself. Dark glance at the headstrong runner answered him kind. Shameless, armored in shamelessness, always shrewd with greed. How could any Argive soldier obey your orders, freely and gladly do your sailing for you, or fight your enemies full force? Aye, no. It wasn't Trojan spearmen who brought me here to fight. The Trojans never did me damage, not in the least. They never stole my cattle or my horses, never in Phthia, where the rich soil breeds strong men, did they lay waste my crops. How could they? Look at the endless miles that lie between us, shadowy mountain ranges, seas that surge and thunder. No, you colossal shameless. We followed you, to please you, to fight for you, to win your honor back from the Trojans. Menelaus and you dogface. What do you care? Nothing. You don't look at right or left, and now you threaten to strip me of my prize in person, the one I fought for long and hard. The sons of Achaea handed her to me. My honors never equal yours. Whenever we sack some wealthy Trojan stronghold, my arms bear the brunt of the raw, savage fighting. True, but when it comes to dividing up the plunder, and the lion's share is yours. And back I go to my ships, clutching some scraps, some pittance that I love, when I have fought to exhaustion. No more now. Back I go to Phthia. Better that way by far, to journey home in the beaked ships of war. I have no mind to linger here disgraced, brimming your cup and piling up your plunder. But the lord of men Agamemnon shot back. Desert by all means, if the spirit drives you home. I will never beg you to stay, not on my account, never. Others will take my side and do me honor, Zeus above all, whose wisdom rules the world. You, I hate you most of all the warlords loved by the gods. Always dear to your heart, strife, yes, and battles, the bloody grind of war. What if you're a great soldier? That's just a gift of God. Go home with your ships and comrades, lord it over your myrmidons. You're nothing to me, you and your overweening anger. But let this be my warning to you on your way. Since Apollo insists on taking my Chryseis, I'll send her back in my own ships with my crew. But I will be there in person at your tents to take Briseis in all her beauty, your own prize, so you can learn just how much greater I am than you, and the next man up may shrink from matching words with me, from hoping to rival Agamemnon's strength. for strength. He broke off, and anguish gripped Achilles. The heart in his chest was pounding, torn. Should he draw the long, sharp sword slung at his hip, thrust through the ranks and kill Agamemnon now, or check his rage and beat his fury down? As Achilles' racing spirit veered back and forth, just as he drew his huge blade from its sheath, down from the vaulting heavens swept Athena. The white-armed goddess Hera sped her down. Hera loved both men and cared for both alike. Rearing behind him, Pallas seized his fiery hair. Only Achilles saw her, none of the other fighters. Struck with wonder, he spun around. He knew her at once. Pallas Athena, the terrible blazing of those eyes, and his wicked words went flying. Why? Why now? Child of Zeus, with a shield of thunder, why come now? To witness the outrage Agamemnon just committed? I tell you this, and so help me, it's the truth. He'll soon pay for his arrogance with his life. Her gray eyes clear, the goddess Athena answered. Down from the skies I come to check your rage, if only you will yield. The white-armed goddess Hera sped me down. She loves you both. She cares for you both alike. Stop this fighting now. Don't lay hand to sword. Lash him with threats of the price that he will face. And I tell you this, and I know it is the truth, one day glittering gifts will lie before you, 3 times over the pay to pay for all his outrage. Hold back now. Obey us both. So she urged, and the swift runner complied at once. I must. When the 2 of you hand down commands, goddess, a man submits through his heart, though his heart breaks with fury. Better for him by far. If a man obeys the gods, they're quick to hear his prayers. With that, Achilles stayed his burly hand on the silver hilt and slid the huge black sword in its sheath. He would not fight the orders of Athena. Soaring home to Olympus, she rejoined the gods aloft in the halls of Zeus, whose shield is thunder. But Achilles rounded on Agamemnon once again, lashing out at him, not relaxing his anger for a moment. Staggering drunk, with your dog's eyes, your fawn's heart. Never once did you arm with the troops and go to battle or risk an ambush packed with Achaea's picked men. You lack the courage. You can see death coming. Safer by far, you find, to foray all through the camp, commandeering the prize of any man who speaks against you. King who devours his people, worthless husks the men you rule. If not a treaty, this outrage would have been your last. Tell you this, and I swear it a mighty oath upon it, by this scepter, look, that never again will put forth crown and branches. Now it's left its stump on the mountain ridge forever, nor will it sprout new green again. Now the brazen axe has stripped its bark and leaves, and now the sons of Achaea pass it back and forth as they hand their judgments down, upholding the honored customs whenever Zeus commands. This scepter will be the mighty force behind my oath. Someday, I swear, a yearning for Achilles will strike Achaea's sons and all your armies. But then, Atreides, harrowed as you will be, nothing you do can save you. Not when your hordes of fighters drop and die, cut down by the hands of man-killing Hector. Then you will tear your heart out, desperate, raging that you disgraced the best of the Achaeans. Down on the ground, Achilles dashed the scepter, studded bright with golden nails. Then he took his seat again. The sun of Atreus smoldered, glaring across at him, but Nestor rose between them. the man of winning words, the clear speaker of Pylos. Sweeter than honey from his tongue, the voice flowed on and on. 2 generations of mortal men he had seen go down by now, those who were born and bred with him in the old days in Pylos' holy realm, and now he ruled the third. He pleaded with both kings with clear goodwill. No more, or enormous sorrow comes to all Achaia. How they would exalt Priam and Priam's son, and all the Trojans. Oh, they'd leap for joy to hear the 2 of you battling on this way. You, who excel us all, first in Achaean councils, first in the ways of war. Stop, please. Listen to Nestor. You are both younger than I, and at my time I struck up with better men than you, even you. But never once did they make light of me. I have never seen such men. I never will again. Men like Pirithous, Dryas, that fine captain, Ceneus, and Exadius, and Polyphemus, royal prince, and Theseus, Aegeus' boy, a match for all the immortals. They were the strongest mortals ever bred on earth, the strongest, and they fought against the strongest too. Shaggy centaurs, wild brutes of the mountains. They hacked them down. Terrible, deadly work. And I was in their ranks, fresh out of Pylos, far away from home. They enlisted me themselves, and I fought on my own, freelance, single-handed. And none of the men who walk the earth these days could battle with those fighters. None. But they took heart my counsels, marked my words. So now you listen to. Yielding is far better. Don't seize the girl Agamemnon, powerful as you are. Leave her, just as the sons of Achaia gave her his prize from the very first. And you, Achilles, never hope to fight it out with your king, pitting force against his force. No one can match the honors dealt a king, you know, a sceptered king, to whom great Zeus gives glory. Strong as you are, a goddess was your mother. He has more power because he rules more men. Atreides, end your anger. Look, it's Nestor. I beg you, cool your fury against Achilles. Here the man stands over all Achaea's armies, our rugged bulwark, braced for shocks of war. But King Agamemnon answered him in haste. True, old man, all you say is fit and proper, but this soldier wants to tower over the armies. He wants to rule over all, to lord it over all, give out orders to every man in sight. Well, there's one I trust who will never yield to him. What if the everlasting gods made him spearman of him? Have they entitled him to hurl abuse at me? Yes, blazing Achilles broke in quickly. What a worthless, burnt-out coward I'd be called if I would submit to you in all your orders, whatever you blurt out. Fling them at others. Don't give me commands. Never again, I trust, will Achilles yield to you. And I tell you this, take it to heart. I warn you, my hands will never do battle for that girl, neither with you, king, nor any man alive. You, Achaeans, gave her. Now you've snatched her back. But all the rest I possess beside my fast black ship, not one bit of it can you seize against my will, Atreides. Come try it, so the men can see that instant your black blood gush and spurt about my spear. Once the 2 had fought it out with words, battling face to face, both sprang to their feet and broke up the muster beside the Argive squadrons. Achilles strode off to his trim ships and shelters, back to his friend Patroclus and their comrades. Agamemnon had a vessel hauled down to sea and picked out 20 oarsmen to man her locks, put aboard the cattle for sacrifice to the god, and let Chryseis, in all her beauty amidships, versatile Odysseus, took the helm as captain. end of the portion for this reading. But for your information, here is a description of the rest of Book 1. His pride wounded, Achilles retreats to his ships. He appeals to his mother, the Nereid Thetis, asking her to seek out Zeus, who is indebted to her for marrying a mortal. Achilles wants the Greeks to realize how important he was to the war effort and asks that Zeus allow the Trojans to get the upper hand in battle. Thetis begrudgingly does her son's bidding. The latter part of Book 1 takes place on Olympus. After Thetis gets Zeus' consent to assist the Trojans, Hera protests both her husband's meeting with Thetis and the disadvantage her beloved Greeks will be in. The two quarrel, revealing Zeus to be the more powerful of the two, but also revealing that the one in power will be checked by others. The scene closes with a comic attempt of their son Hephaestus playing the peacemaker by hobbling around serving gods nectar. That is the end of our reading of Book 1.